2025. We've got a very unbalanced ship today. Everyone's sitting on my left, so I think that's a really good sign. So let's open our meeting this morning with our karakia. Kia inoi tātou. Tuia e ronga, tuia e raro, tuia e roto, tuia e waho. Tuia ngā kaia mahi o te kaunihira o Kirikiriroa. Whaia te iti kahurangi. Kia u, kia mau, kia ita. Haumie, huie, tai kie. And welcome to Councillor Louise online. Hope you're feeling well. And Maria also, who is online. This morning you've got agendas in front of you, so let's start with our apologies. And I have an apology from Councillor Bidder, who has business out of town, and Councillor Tauriki, who is attending a tangi of his uncle, and we send our condolences to him and his whānau. Are there any other apologies from the floor?
Councillor Maxine?
Yes.
I may leave early depending on how I'm feeling.
Absolutely. We understand your commitment to be at the meeting, even when you are sick, and that's the good thing about Zoom land. Kia ora. I've had a look at the agenda, and it isn't... I'm going to go with Jeff on this, and we're going to go... We won't be a long, heavy agenda, I think. Thank you. Councillor Maria, did you have something you wanted to highlight? No. Kia ora. Thank you. Can I have a mover then? Councillor Wilson, seconded Councillor Pike. Thank you. All those in favour? Aye. And then now to confirmation of our agenda. As it is presented to you on paper today, I'll move, and Councillor Tim to second. All those in favour? Are there any declarations of interest, colleagues? There are none, and we don't have a public forum today. But thank you. And a seconder? I'll second. Are there any matters of clarification or error? There are not. All those in favour? Against?
The motion is carried unanimously.
Thank you. I just keep our governance functioning as well. That takes us to the Chair's report, page 12. I'll take that as read, colleagues, but I do want to note my thank yous to Deputy Moko, to Gary and Sarah for their support in the work of the committee, and to our finance team and staff that support those. They've been juggling some pretty heavy workloads, and I'm really grateful for the up-to-date financial information that they get to us in a really timely way for us to make great decisions. Thank you there. So I'll move that, and Councillor Wilson second. Very good. Are there any questions or comments, colleagues? Yes, we can go to debate. Yeah, no. Right, me Paula.
Cool. Thank you. Just thank you for your good report, and thank you for the good work that you've done over the last triennium as Chair of Finance. You should be proud of the work that you've done, considering the huge financial pressures that New Zealand has faced, councils across the country and this one, trying to navigate some very big forces against us financially, so thank you very much on that. It's pleasing to see that against budget we've done quite well this year, but we always understand the reasons that sit behind that. I know we're going to talk about that a bit later. The other thing I just want to say is that I've seen a bit of media now on the waters entities, and I think it pays once again to acknowledge that the costs around modern water services, appropriate water services, is going to go up, and that the ratepayers who are currently paying in their rates but will be paying in a water charge of some sort will see that reflected in the work that the EOI has to do. And People may not be very happy with a lot of things that the council has done, but I think it's really important to be transparent at all times, and we have said since day one, the future of water services is a lot more expensive than what we're currently delivering or what we're currently under-delivering. So thank you for your work on the EOI board as well and panel, getting us through some of that. So all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Paula. Councillor Anna Casey-Cox.
Yeah, I just want to really toe-talk what Mayor Paula said, and thank you for your amazing work during this term. And I think your Chair's report is really good. It provides a great summary of all the challenges that we have faced during the term. And, you know, obviously debt is one of our major focuses, and, you know, EOI is definitely, as Mayor Paula said, a great step in the right direction in terms of how we do better in that space. I want to acknowledge the demystifying education sessions, because I really did appreciate those sessions, and I think they're really critical to actually preventing misinformation. There's a lot made of how our financial stresses are due to some minor projects that we've undertaken, and I think our community can readily buy into that if we don't help them to understand the bigger picture. And so those education sessions, from my perspective, have been super helpful. And I just want to acknowledge you, because I think, it's probably the hardest portfolio to manage in a way, because it's where the most criticism comes in and the most challenge. And your strength and your intelligence, and on the MEF as well, you've been amazing, asking really critical questions to make sure that our decisions in that space are really, really good and solid. So I just acknowledge you and your abilities. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you, colleagues. That's really flattering. I've got nothing to say. So, I beg your pardon. Councillor Emma, I didn't see you on my board, so hang on.
Thank
How do
you.
I get that?
Yeah, I just also want to quickly acknowledge your work in this committee. It's, as Councillor Anna said, it's not an easy one, and finance is definitely a big focus for both our community and our elected members. So thank you for your commitment to this role, and I've also appreciated the opportunity for the workshops that you've led. They've been helpful in providing that contextual information to bring everyone on the same understanding. So thank you for your mahi and commitment, and appreciate your work. Thank you.
Councillor Sarah.
Thank you. I won't add too much to the time, given we're going to not jinx this meeting. But I will just say thank you very much, Chair, for your hard work. Also, thank you to Gary for all of the work that you and also Sarah and others in the finance team are doing to really have a good look at how we manage and report on the city's finances. And I also have really appreciated the time you've taken to do those demystifying sessions with us and answer questions, and look forward to more of those in the new term. Thanks.
Thank you, colleagues. Let's then go to the vote. It's been moved by me and seconded by Councillor Anna Casey-Cox. So, all those in favour? Against?
The motion is carried unanimously.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to Ian and no Kelly today. Ian, your report on the capital portfolio monitoring. Please come and have a seat. And I'll hand the meeting over to you. And if you can take us through the key points, that'd be great.
No, good morning, Chair. Good morning, elected members. An apology from Kelly. Kelly should be sitting on my right, but unfortunately she has been held up this morning, so apologies for that. But I do give the Chamber confidence, so I do have a great. Oh, he's over here. Oh, okay, right, there we go.
My children move the pace of glaciers sometimes.
Then can we start again?
Ellie and breathe.
I even forgot my glasses.
Right, good morning. Right, so I'm here to present the capital portfolio monitoring report for the year ended 30th of June 2025. While I will take the report as read, I will just cover some of the main highlights for the Chamber. So again, these are the 12-month results. I will just note, and you'll hear it again from Sarah as well when she does her report. Look, this report was prepared before final audit's completed, so there are potential changes once audit works through that. But if there were any changes, that would come back to Chamber and we would report those to you. The 12-month actual result in the capital program was $235.3 million. You'll note that that is actually quite an uplift from what we forecast over the last 4 to 5 months, where we were consistently reporting around about a 206 million program. So that's been good news from our point of view. That uplift was really driven by two factors. We actually delivered more in the final 2 months than we had planned initially or were forecasting. But equally, there is a significant strategic land purchase in the Rotokauri area, which did help bump that number up. So that final number was 235.3 million. Now that we know the actuals for the year end, we can stop talking about a forecast in terms of the forecast deferrals for the year. And with knowing that the final deferrals or net deferrals for the 24-25 financial year are 135.6 million. Which again, this is a reduction from what we've previously reported, largely off the back end of the fact that we did actually spend more than we had forecast. So that is a good news story. The impact, however, of course, on net deferrals being lower as it does flow through into years 2 and 3 of the capital program, and we have outlined in paragraph 52 of table 3 what that revised capital program we now think looks like in light of those increased spending, which has reduced our deferrals. I hope I'm making sense when I say that, because effectively we spent more in year 1 than we thought we would, and that therefore reduces the money we need to spend in years 2 and 3. In terms of work in progress, the outstanding WIP remains higher than we would want it to, and as at 30th of June, sits at 269.9 million. That is still a high number. The positives really are that that's a reduction though from the previous report, so we are easing into it. And during the year, the staff processed capitalisations were 320 million, so that is a significant amount of work that the team has processed throughout the year. We have acknowledged, though, as staff, that we need to get on top of the WIP and the red WIP position. So going forward, we have chosen to increase resources in our data analyst team to try and get on top of that backlog and really deal to it. Equally, we've also set up an internal governance group whose sole purpose is to address WIP on a weekly basis, literally a weekly basis, and to look at the barriers and the blockages and to open up some of the pathways to make sure that we're dealing with this in a very timely manner. And it's been running now for the past month, and we're already seeing positive outcomes from that, which is a positive story. Finally, I'll say, look, we've got 3 projects in the report that we're listing as having an amber risk. It's the 3 projects that we reported previously to the committee: Collins Road, Embassy Park, and the Waiora water treatment plant upgrade. And what I'll do at this point is I'll just ask Kelly to give the committee an update on those projects.
Thanks, Ian. So the Embassy Theatre Open Spaces remains at amber because we are dependent upon the progress at the theatre site, which is all on track, but it's just signalling that we are timing it with that development. So the Waiora water treatment plant, as we've indicated, that the membrane plant is in its commissioning period, so we have a year to fix snags and any defects that are in the plant. We have some pumping capacity restraints leading into the membrane section of the plant, so we're working through solutions to increase that capacity, and we're just retaining it at amber until we're able to complete the final testing of it. So there's a plan in place for all of that. And the last one is about wastewater bulk storage, and this is in relation to the Collins Road site in particular. So this has previously come to council on the 11th of March, and we're still in orange because we are behind time, and we are working through dewatering at the site. As I'm sure many of the councillors are aware, if you drive past it, we're in construction mode, but it is behind time.
Thank you. So like at that point, I'll conclude the presentation and we're happy to take any questions from the chamber.
Very good. And I have a question from Councillor Thompson.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks, Kelly, and thank you, Ian. I am just interested in the bulk storage tanks. What's the expected timing now?
So our expected completion date is April.
April, okay. And in terms of the groundwater, was there any way for us, because I've had fielded some questions from people since seeing the media article, and was there any way for us to have been able to detect that, or was it something that we couldn't have detected before the project began?
Okay, so I'm going to be a little bit cautious in my responses because some of what we're talking about should probably be in public excluded, and also to retain council's position. So any project delays or anything like that are of course disappointing. So we had a consent that applied to the amount of water that could be removed during dewatering, and it didn't apply to the amount of groundwater at the site. So there's differing construction methods that require differing approaches to the amount of dewatering that you can do. So in this case, the final construction methodology required a greater dewatering than the initial designs, following a different technique, had anticipated. So the primary factors are quite complex, and we are under continued investigation, and the exact cause of it is yet to be finally determined.
Is it worth us going to PX, whether it's, to be able to ask further, to have more detailed discussion, say at the next meeting, if we were able to, at the next finance meeting, which would be next term, but if there was further reporting within there, that would be quite helpful to allow for.
Of course, I can bring something back in public excluded.
Yeah. So, but to what you've said is essentially the construction method changed, which changed the amount of dewatering required, or did I?
The amount of dewatering that was permitted under the consenting. So it's a complex issue.
Yeah. Okay. All right, thank you. And in terms of the Fairfield one, which is now the next cab off the rank for putting in storage tanks, how are we looking in terms of timing for that? And are we doing everything we can to avoid any delays and to get this constructed as soon as possible?
So that project is on track.
Yeah.
And lessons learned from this have been applied to Fairfield.
Okay. And in terms of the Hamilton East one, where we know that there's a lot of demand, that one I understand has now been is now third in line after Fairfield. But how can we get that going faster? Are we able to deliver that sooner?
So the process for that is that there's a long list of sites that have been identified for investigation. And what we've previously brought to council and that you approved was that we could proceed with 2 sites at the same time to investigate those. So we're at the point now where soon we'll be able to determine if either of those sites are actually viable. I think that's very soon. And if either of those sites are not viable, then we would need to come back to council to explain what the next steps would be through a really clear process. Because all of this needs to go through some sort of hearing or decision making, and so we need to be absolutely clear in how these sites have been determined.
Yeah. Okay. But in the meantime, the site for Fairfield is sorted.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Chair. Just on the same issue, so some of the criticism that I'm hearing is that the sort of accusation is that we've chosen a site that we shouldn't have chosen because we should have been aware of groundwater issues and stuff like that. Are you able to respond to that or refute that? Or
So to be careful in retaining council's position. I wouldn't agree with that. Every site has its own challenges, which can be managed with methodology or construction decisions. And in this location, we're managing the site conditions with an alternative dewatering technique.
Okay, so you refute the sort of allegations that we've chosen a site we shouldn't have.
The Collins Road site was decided on with a multi-criteria analysis in
Okay.
consultation with a wide variety of stakeholders, which includes appropriateness of those bulk storage in relation to the existing wastewater network.
Okay, so there was no reason to suspect we were going to run into the problems that we have.
Again, I have to, I'm finding it difficult to answer that question in this
Okay,
forum.
all right, well, I'll look forward to further discussion. Thank you. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Any further questions, colleagues? No? I did have a small question with regard to the deferrals in the renewals and compliance area. It's a significant amount of money, $44 million, that will sit outside the 3-year program. And I just wanted assurances on the prioritisation of the deferrals that you put out into there, and to confirm that only deferrals for those things that can reasonably be on that longer delivery timeframe and program would be considered. And I guess, you know, what kind of method would we use in order to prioritise that? And I know that we have what are they called, AMPs. Is that the sort of thing that we can rely on?
Okay, thank you,
Yeah.
Madam Chair. So prioritisation of the types of activities that are in renewals and compliance are also related to asset life, asset condition. So we really try to sweat the assets as much as we possibly can to get the most life out of them. So those items that have been deferred have either been identified that they can be stretched a little bit longer, or, but not too much longer, or that the scopes for those aren't clearly identified. So we want to make sure that we're doing the right piece of work at the right time. And so taking the time to really define the brief for those is partly what's contributed to those. Ian, do you have anything else to add?
No, Kelly summed it up well. What I would finally add though is a deferral as a movement in time, and if we had to bring money forward from a future period, we would arrive in chamber and request that money was brought forward, assuming it fell within the financial strategy metrics. But again, it's all about addressing the right work at the right time to ensure that those assets are maintaining a service delivery to the community and the public.
And you're confident that we've got that methodology right now, that we've learned from lessons of the past, and that we can rely on that kind of approach?
Oh, I'm really pleased with the renewals and compliance program.
Thank you. Thank you. And then the final question I have is with regard to the work in progress. Audit identified that as something that they were a bit uncomfortable about in a couple of previous reports that you've brought to us. The mitigants that you talk about in terms of the internal governance and other things, you're confident that that will allay those concerns, or be able to?
I can't speak on behalf of audit. I'm Chair Gary. I think, Gary, do you want to?
Yeah. So I think the combination of reprioritising resource to focus on it, plus some work, significant work that's been done to provide data that helps drive the process and decision making, will enable us to get on top of it. The issue is there is a significant backlog, and it does require some specialist resource. I would imagine that it's not this audit that you'll see any benefit, but the next audit for the next annual report, I would expect the auditors to start to indicate that they're seeing significant improvement. It may not disappear from the management report at that point, but I think they'll be able to comment on the improvement that's been made.
That's great, thank you very much. Were there any other questions, colleagues? Is Councillor Sarah to move? Do I have a seconder? Was that you, Ewan? Oh, sorry. Thank you. Councillor Ewan to second. Do you have debate, Councillor Thompson?
Look, I need to say thank you for the report and the work that's been done here, and to also flag my interest, and I'm sure many other elected members are also very interested in the, ensuring that these wastewater storage facilities are delivered in a really timely way. So if there's any way that we can assist in that as elected members, then please at any point come to us, because these are, we want to ensure that we get these constructed as soon as we can, because they're needed quite urgently. So anything we can do, let us know. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further debate? No, let's put that. Can I just say thank you to Ian, Kelly and the team for their work. It's really clear that we've made some quite positive movement through the year, from quite a bleak outlook in terms of delivery to really being able to get through that program once we had the measures in place and the ability to be able to get on and make those decisions. So thank you. It's most of those things that you've talked about today have ended up a bit more positive than was forecast, and that's always a really good thing to be able to finish a triennium of financial matters on. Kia ora and thank you. Let's take that to the vote then, councillors. With a show of hands, all those in favour? Against?
The motion is carried unanimously.
Kia ora, we're making very good time here, people. Yep. So let's welcome Sarah to the chair for presentation of her financial performance and strategy report. Colleagues, you'll find that on page 51. And Sarah, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, councillors. So this brings us to the final report for the 24-25 financial year result. Noting, as Ian previously said, that this is not yet audited, so there could be still some changes should audit find anything that needs to be changed. So the year ended on a positive note, with a balancing the books deficit of 21 million, 35 million better than budgeted. In cash terms, we were $28 million better off operationally, but it is still a deficit. The accounting result is a $32 million surplus, which is 10 million lower than budget. This is mostly a result of lower swap values due to the market interest rates and some disposals on property, plant and equipment, and includes the P&L impacts of the SchoolLink project decisions. A couple of key impacts this year had knock-on effects. Firstly, the NZTA subsidy changes caused significant uncertainty and delayed start in a number of areas, which has impacted both CapEx and OpEx. The Future Fit restructure also had an impact, as there was some time taken to fill some vacancies, and you will see that favourability in the personnel costs, with higher than normal vacancies towards the beginning of the year, although that has evened out towards the end of the year. So it's been a strong year in terms of events for the city, and that has contributed an additional $3 million to the bottom line. The organisation has been especially cost conscious, and some good long-term savings have been identified, particularly in the digital space, with 3.4 million of savings in software licensing and digital storage, and these have been incorporated into budgets going forward. I understand some of you may have had some questions in regards to item 39 on the report, the rubbish bins contract. It is a change in accounting treatment, and there is no changes in terms of the contract or any of the cash terms that we're being paid. It is simply recognising that expense up front, and which will result in lesser budgets in the P&L going forward. We have completed revaluation of 4 asset books: the land book, operational buildings, investment property, and the water treatment plants and buildings. And this has resulted in a $300 million uplift in council's overall asset values, with the value uplifts mainly sitting in operational buildings and the treatment plants. The outcomes of the water and wastewater reticulation revaluations remain unresolved, and we continue to work with Waikato District Council towards a joint revaluation methodology with a view for completion by the end of the year. In terms of debt, we came in just under $1 billion at $989 million, which is $247 million less than budgeted. That, combined with an extra $16 million of revenue, resulted in a 213% debt to revenue ratio compared to our budgeted 276%. So overall, the result has significantly strengthened our resilience as we move into the major transaction for the transfer of the waters business. This enhanced flexibility positions us for a successful outcome and reinforces our strong trajectory towards the balancing the books by year 3. I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you, and I have on the request list Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the report. Question page 54, under operating and maintenance costs. Number 2 of that section, you refer to the capital projects no longer proceeding and therefore required to. The most significant being the Southern Links, 3.3 million. Is that supposed to be school links?
Good question. I'm not entirely certain, I think.
Because you mentioned school links in your preamble.
Yes, yes. I don't believe
Southern Links, as far as I know, is going ahead.
That would be disastrous.
I think that must be a typo.
That's cool.
I hope so. Please, could we have confirmation?
Okay, so that so school links.
Sorry, I refer to my colleague here and confirms it is school links.
Great, 3.3 million. So that item, it says 9.4 million relates to capital projects which are no longer proceeding. So school links is 3.3. What are the other ones?
I couldn't give you that list offhand, but I could come back to you with that.
Could I get that list? Thanks, because that's another 6.1 million. It'd be nice to know which projects aren't proceeding, which are costing that, having to be transferred to operational expenditure. Thank you very much. Thanks, Chair.
Councillor Taylor, one thing I would indicate is that it's not necessarily all projects that aren't proceeding. Sometimes in the accounting recognition processes, we have to identify costs incurred at the start of a project that we cannot capitalise even though the project's occurring. So it may be a mix of those things.
Okay, is it possible for me to get some? Thank you.
Thank you for that, Gary. Perhaps that's something that can appear in our executive update next week. Is that possible to put that information in there for everyone? Thank you very much. Thank you for asking, Councillor Taylor. Angela.
A big pivot with questioning here. I'm just on page 63 under the governance, and I've emailed the Chair and CFO last night so they're aware of the questions. But I was just looking at administration expenses under governance and wondering where we put the costs and associated costs for official information requests, because I understand from water cooler talks that that's starting to increase and we don't have, elected members don't have oversight of that.
There is no, other than the personnel costs which sit within the governance area that do deal with Lagoima, the costs for Lagoimas will not appear in this governance section here. We don't account formally for the staff time cost to prepare or respond to Lagoimas. However, there is I understand the governance team does do some tracking of the hours, particularly of significant requests that will take a lot of time, but we don't actually formally take the costs from the various areas where people are paid to a separate area.
Is there a reason why? Because we generally under projects allocate an amount to staff costs, particularly with consultation and all of that, when one could say staff are still doing their job?
We do where it is, where it adds informational value, but it is quite a significant administrative burden, I guess, because it would require time sheeting or something of that description. So there's potentially ways that we could explore that from a high-level view.
Do we use, so I'm slightly going a little broad at this point, but I do have a motion, Chair. Do we use legal review at any, or legal services at any point with official information requests?
I'm sorry, I
No,
don't.
I didn't.
I wouldn't be able to answer
That's
that
probably
question.
a question.
Deputy
Okay.
Mayor O'Leary, one thing I would say is rather than track it through our financial accounting system, probably the best way for us to reasonably identify the cost would be to identify how many we do.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the team could estimate kind of how much time it would take on average to do each one.
Yeah.
Some are more, some are less, but we could probably give an indication of the average.
Yeah.
That will give us a sense of what it costs the organisation to do compliance.
Yeah.
In terms of legal costs, occasionally there are some, but it is very limited.
Okay, all right. Okay, so CFO then, what's your advice on, because I do have a motion for the next council to do that little piece of work. Is that should I just leave it to the next appropriate council committee, or is it something that should come to finance? I'm not sure.
Look, happy with your motion to go forward. I think what you're saying is, and I think it's a good idea that we do track this, and then I think what you're saying, you want it reported in a formal way, which I think is fine. And Mish's team actually track the number of hours, so if someone in Kelly's team has to spend 3 hours on it, they tell Mish's team we've spent 3 hours on this, and then we can do the calculation on the average hourly rate of people, overhead and that sort of thing. So we can do that. It's not unusual for councils to do that, and there has been some discussion through LGNZ and Taituara, Society of Local Government Management, about that, because there has been an increase since COVID right across the country, and the Local Government Commission's taken interest in that too. So happy for your recommendation to go ahead, and then we can add that into the reporting, and we'll just have to think through the appropriate committee or place where that reports back to. And my advice would be to do it on like a quarterly basis or something like that.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I did send a motion through. It might need a little bit of massaging then, but if you could just have a look at it.
Put that up on the board so that everyone can see.
It might be a
what
little
that
bit
is
more
and-
robust than what's needed based on what the CE just said, but
Right. Okay.
yeah, maybe strategic risk, I'm not sure. I've gone into the level of detail a little.
Yeah, you have, and it does note that you would like it to come back through this finance committee. If that's something that we can alter the most appropriate committee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chair, I'm just wondering, does it need to be a report or that staff report back to the relevant committee? Because it could go into a general manager's report or something.
Is
but
that picking?
I don't know, it's just, reports are then costly and timely as well.
Happy to take advice on that.
I think staff can decide how the report is created.
I think number 4 has a bit of opinion in it rather than just fact.
Okay, yep, get rid of that. Yep. Yep.
The reporting will be enough to
Yeah.
identify that,
Yeah,
won't it?
and elected members will do it through questions as well, so.
So we've got several questions to come, and I'm not sure where Louise, where you were on the speaking list, so I'm going to go to you first.
I was just going to offer to second Deputy Mayor Angela's motion.
To second, yes?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, let's go back to the board. Councillor Casey Cox. Were there any other questions or comments that you had, Deputy Mayor?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. It's just in one of the activity sheets, community services. Just looking at the savings made due to pay equity claims not happening or proceeding. Is there anything, I mean, this is a question for Helen, I guess, is there anything that has been done in that space to sort of, I guess, make up for that or meet staff expectations in that space? Oh,
The answer is yes, it's been addressed in our latest salary round.
okay.
And we believe it's been addressed in a fair and equitable way with us working with the union, but not to the extent of the original claim, which, it's on record what their claim was and that sort of thing. So I think we're in a good place on that, and we'll continue to make sure that we look at the fair value for those sorts of roles where there is a potential gender pay equity issue.
Cool. That's great.
Dan's actually got some good statistics, Dan Finn from HR, just on how we're tracking on that generally across all our roles across council, and we're looking pretty good.
Okay, that would be great to see that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. And Mayor Paula.
Thank you. Just one thing on Angela's motion, which is a very good one, and then there's something else. On that, I wonder if it would be possible to differentiate between the ones that we pay the full costs, we pay the full costs, and the ones that we decide are taking so much time or are repetitive, that we charge back to, because I think having some daylight on that's quite useful, that we charge back to the client.
Yep, we'll include that within the report.
Thank you, appreciate that. Just in terms of, gosh, I've lost it. Oh, development contributions in the capital revenue, that's down year to date a little bit, which would be expected. So it's sitting at 90%. What are we going? Have we made any adjustment on the base of the slowdown of development for the next year, or are we still main confidence in the next year's?
The development contributions are set in a long-term plan, and we haven't made any adjustments in the annual plan in relation to that.
But we could.
We could.
Yeah. So is that something that would be considered early in the? Well, we review the annual plan afterwards, not before. So, would there be any adjustment made, or are we expecting that to rebound sufficiently not to be an issue?
Probably the one thing I would say is it's something we do need to continue to track, and as those projects kind of come on and delay and depend on how they roll out, there are impacts there. We've definitely identified it as a area for us to consider how we develop our approach to that going into the LTP, which doesn't mean we substantively change it, but I think there is opportunities for us to improve kind of the timing and the recognition and scale of that going forward, but we'll bring that into LTP 27.
Okay, thank you. And the professional costs, which are down against budget, Lance, is that because of your future fit and the way you've been looking at contractors and part of that?
Sorry, I missed the start of that.
The professional costs, which I presume is contracting, isn't it? It's contract of some sort?
Yeah.
So that reduction from the 13 to the 16, from the 16 to the 13, other way around, sorry, is a result of
it's the work that we've been doing right across the organisation.
The future fit work you've been doing, is that right?
There's a combination of factors across the organisation, but again, coming back to that, partly that cost-conscious culture, and the combination of some of those changes.
Okay, thank you. I've lost my other ones. I'll carry on. That's fine. Thank you.
That's it for you, Mayor Paula.
Thank you.
Do I have any further questions from the floor? No, there are none. Can we just clarify, Deputy Mayor Angela and Councillor Louise, that you are moving the motion to accept the paper
And the staff report.
and yes,
The staff recommendation, yes.
yes. Thank you very well. Then we'll go to debate, and you have the floor.
No, I'm all good.
No debate.
No,
No.
thank you.
Councillor Louise, anything you? No. Okay. Look, I will. It's our last report that we'll be accepting from you, Sarah, in this committee, and so thank you for that. It's a bit of a mixed bag, as we've seen, but it's really important message that Council is holding the line on our key financial strategy measures. Debt to revenue at 213%, well under what we forecast. The net debt is also lower at $989 million compared to the $1.2 billion that we had forecast also. These are really strong results in what has been quite a tough environment. The accounting surplus is worse than budget, but that's mostly due to the non-cash adjustments and timing differences. It's not telling us that the organisation is weak financially. In fact, the balancing the books result is $35 million better than budget, and that reflects careful cost control, efficiencies and stronger revenue. The Destinations Group, their favourable variance of $7.6 million is really encouraging, and it means people are happy in Hamilton and want to come here. I welcome that. I also want to stress the importance that our budgets are limits, not targets, and that's something that our CE has reminded us and reinforced to the organisation, and that's putting us in a much better stead. So it's exactly what this report shows that we're doing. Overall, the picture is of resilience, not weakness, and that should give us confidence moving forward. Kia ora. Thank you. Mayor Southgate.
Thank you. Just picking up on a couple of comments, I'm going to want to focus on some positives, like you say. Well done to staff for the results. There are some things outside of our control, but the balancing books savings shows that Lance and his team are well focused on the requirements that we gave them around saving costs across a number of areas. If I look at page 53 and the operating revenue year-to-date variance picture at the top, then we can feel reasonably satisfied that across revenue streams we are doing better than we once were. And so we are looking at new ways of getting revenue in different ways. And of course, the gardens revenue would be an example of one very good change that this council made to bring some more money in the door from other people. Subsidies and grants is positive. Interest revenue is positive, and that's not easy to do in a strange market that we're in now. Just making some precautionary comments, though, in the capital revenue always is subject to quite high risk compared to other projects. I am concerned about the slowdown in development that now the economists are telling us that would probably persist until the latter part of 2027, as opposed to coming back on straight away. So I think that is something that we need to look at, because it does generate quite a lot of income for council, but it gets spent. But it's all in ins and outs. But we've, the other part, thank you to Lance for looking at the professional costs and for the work that you have done across the staff reorganisation, fit for purpose. I know you're not finished because you've got some other targets that we've set in the long-term plan, but I think it's fair to say that you've done an excellent job in progressing those requests of council. So thanks, Lance, and team underneath, of course. Lance being the umbrella for that comment, but thank you to the finance team for all that you've done, and all the GMs for the portfolios they've run so well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Paula. Councillor Casey Cox.
Yeah, just quickly, just to acknowledge the staff for their commitment to pay equity effectively, and I look forward to seeing those stats that Lance mentioned. I just also wanted to thank the team for their great work, but also acknowledge the work that we've done to get some external funding in for some of our exciting projects, like the Waiwhakariki predator-proof fence and the medieval garden, even Puketi Neighbourhood House. Like those partnerships and relationships are so critical to what we do, and those projects are so important to our city and taking it forward. So it's just fantastic to see that kind of success and work going on. So just thanks to the team.
Thank you. Councillor Taylor.
Thanks, Chair. Look, I wasn't going to speak, but I think we just need to bring a little touch of caution before we sort of, before there's too much kind of patting ourselves on the back for our financial position. I mean, we need to remember that we've just levied ratepayers 15.5% rate rise. And with the revaluation, property revaluation, that's had a hell of an impact on a lot of people. And that comes off the back of a 16.5% rate rise. And my understanding is next year we're looking at a 14.5% rate rise. So I think we just need to be a little bit careful there about self-congratulations. And in the year to July gone, my understanding is that around about a third of our rate take went to paying off interest on our debt. So I just think let's keep a realistic
Just a point
picture.
of order, Councillor Taylor.
What's the point of order?
The point of order is that that's incorrect information.
$63 million.
And
$63 million in the year to July.
Councillor Taylor, just while the chair is speaking, I just ask you to show that respect. There is a complication about how you report that. There is some information that's come through from our finance team that helps us to be able to understand the true cost of that. And I'm more than happy to have that sent to you so that you can have a fuller understanding
Are
of
you saying,
exactly
Chair, that
what
you just
that is.
don't like that figure? Is that what you're saying? Or?
Councillor Taylor, I just ask you to be just a little bit more respectful in
no,
what you're asking. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that it's inaccurate and that there are clearer ways to be able to interpret that. And
I
and I'll send that
respectfully disagree
Thank
with you.
Thanks very much. Councillor, Deputy Mayor, did you want to? Thank you.
Procedurally, you stopped the debate. Obviously, you had remaining time. Does Councillor Taylor...
He may finish his debate, should he have other points to make.
Okay, thank you.
No, look,
Thank you. Very well. There's no more debate. Let's take that to the vote. So we are... If we could put up on the board, actually, because that's a little bit different. Thank you.
Question to governance. I've got a procedural question. Thank you. Through to governance. Governance, can you help me understand understanding orders? How a procedural point, exactly which procedural point the chair was referring to that interrupted the debate? Madam Chair, as you know, you executed a point of order, and as chair, you then failed to identify what point of order you were using.
You'll find it on page 44, 26.2, item D, and governance will answer your question.
Sorry, 44.
So it would be 26.2D, misrepresentation, incorrect or misleading account of any statement.
Madam Chair, in the light of that, as chair, was it appropriate that you're the arbiter of fact? Should you not have relied on or sought advice from the subject matter independent staff member?
I know this to be a fact, and I have the evidence in an email, and so I think I'm fairly confident in what that might be. And so at this point, what I'd like to do, Councillor, is to move our meeting on to the voting on accepting that and the amendments that Councillor Louise and Deputy Mayor Angela have proposed.
Madam Chair, I'd like to speak on the order now. Thank you.
I'm afraid that I've taken it to the vote, and so that's not going to be available to you at this point, Councillor Wilson.
Madam Chair, I just want you to reflect on the fact, are you saying that you are now not permitting, you've ruled a point of order, you've interrupted the debate. We have had questions procedurally about the use of your chair's position in disruption. We've now said and expressed clearly, both Councillor McIndoe and I, that we would like to have the right in this chamber to have debate.
Yeah, just a moment.
And now are you ruling as chair that you're shutting the meeting down and not permitting democracy? I just want that clarified for the record.
Thank you for your question. What I'll do is I'll just have a chat to governance and see where we...
But we weren't told that she'd gone to that.
I had called for the vote, and at that point, further debate and raising further points of order are not available to the committee. And so I will stand by that, and I will now ask that we vote on the matter that's on the board.
So, Madam Chair,
And that is my ruling. Thank you.
can I seek clarification?
No, I'm sorry. That is my ruling.
So no
Thank
further
you.
point of order is appropriate? Is it-
That's right. You're not able to raise any further points of order, and you'll find that again on page 44, the chair's decision on points of order and the point of order once the chairperson is called for a vote. So, by show of hands, or maybe we'll go to the board. And we've got the motion on the board, have we? Yes. So if you would like to vote.
The motion is carried. 8 for and 4 against.
Thank you.
I'll move the motion on item 9 and reserve the right to speak.
And we will be moving into public excluded.
Madam Chair, I've moved it.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Thank you.
Madam Chair,
All
I'd like
those.
to debate that point. I'm permitted understanding orders. My understanding is a motion. It's been moved and seconded. There's the right to debate.
And that will be relevant to the resolution.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I sit in this chamber again today with some discontent and frustration. And as I reflect the fact that this particular item is to move to exclude the public, I raise the danger that this council frequently uses the excluded part of the meeting for details that in fact should be well in the public gaze. I've been astonished by your chairing of the last item, and I think it illustrates considerable concern of the erosion of democracy and your use of the chair's position to shut down debate. And the public needs to be worried about that. They need to be concerned about why a chair would want to stymie debate in public forum. And I just feel that it's relevant to raise that in this particular item to let people know the types of arbitrary mechanisms that are used to stymie debate in this chamber.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think that's possible. You're welcome to debate, Mayor Paula.
Small debate. I don't want to create this a big argument, but my understanding from the debate was that you got advice, governance advice on the process, and you ruled accordingly. So I think it's unreasonable to in
Madam
public.
Chair, that's out of scope, standing order.
Why?
It's not irrelevant. It's out of scope.
Procedural motion that the vote be taken.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yep. All right. So, all those in favour of moving to public excluded, raise your hand. That's the procedural motion to take the vote. I understood. Is that correct?
Yes, and there's no questions, no nothing, it just has to be put.
Oh, do we have a seconder? Councillor Casey Cox. All those in favour?
Hang on just one moment. If the procedural motions, the chairperson must put it to the vote immediately without discussion. So the procedural motion has to be.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. Very well. So we'll take the motion to move into public excluded. All those in favour, raise your hand. Against? And we'll have a break for morning tea. Thank you, everyone.